Hello and welcome to the Goodwood Revival. We're here and we're going back in time. We're going back in time to the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, whatever you want, we're going back in time. And the reason why we are is we've gone back in time to look at some incredibly cool and old school vintage racing cars and automobiles. We've also have Richard Racing today, so make sure you check out the channel and find out how he gets on. But why don't you come with me now and I'll show you some of the best cars that are here today.
Welcome to the Goodwood Revival. This is the 2023 edition, Friday, and we're standing just in front of the Maserati 250S, which I'll be racing in the Freddie March Memorial Trophy. It's a cool race this. It celebrates cars that used to race in the Goodwood 9 hours in the 1950s. My car 1957, as you can see. Got some pretty stiff competition. I qualified P3 this morning. Second place, got a C-type Jaguar with a very good driver called Chris Ward, and then in P1 we got a certain Formula 1 world champion called Jensen Button. So yeah, we'll be looking to give them a fight, but this is one of only 2 cars ever made, delivered new to CARROLL Shelby, obviously one of the main characters in the Ford versus Ferrari film, which hopefully you've all seen. If not, check it out, it's awesome. Goodwood Revival is just awesome though. I haven't got into the dress up that much today as I'm obviously racing, so it's a bit restricted. So I got an old tweed blazer, but obviously if you just look around the event, it's just amazing the amount that goes into it. And it's a real, we have to say, you know, thank you to the Duke of Richmond, because he puts on, not only for the fans, but for the entrance, for the drivers and everything, what he puts on is completely ridiculous. So no, it's always a pleasure to come to this event. I love driving it, love driving this car, and hopefully we'll have a good race later. So one of the really cool things I like about this car is we've kept it as original as possible, and credit to the owner for doing that. So much so we're actually even using the original steering wheel. We haven't used, you know, the older generation of racing cars are much bigger steering wheels because the materials aren't as strong as we have now. But we want to keep it as authentic as possible. And if you take a quick look at the gauges here, one of the biggest problems I had when I first got into this car is it's so authentically Italian that all the gauges were in Fahrenheit, and we kept the original ones in. And obviously, growing up in England and using our numbers, I haven't got used to Fahrenheit versus Celsius. So I was having to do calculations in my head, so I had no idea if my water temps were all good. But it's a beautiful piece of kit. Obviously, you see here we've got a proper gridded 8-cat gearbox, which is a lovely thing. And you know, when the technology that it has for something from the 1950s is really good. The limiting factor for this car, I would say, is the fact that it still has drum brakes, and drum brakes are notorious for overheating. So you do get, in the longer races, you get a little bit of brake fade, which is where towards the end of the braking zone for the last 25-30%, because the brakes get so much heat and they effectively start to not work, and they just, no matter how hard you press the pedal, you get the same amount of stopping power. So sometimes you do go into a slow speed corner praying that everything is okay, but you get used to it in the end, you know. And at the end of the day, at least these days, well, maybe not Goodwood, but we've got very modern, safe circuits with lots of runoff and everything. So yeah, we'll see what we can do in the race later.
Yes, good day out.
Awesome day. Having lots of fun. Fantastic weather. I like the Aston Martins that we saw earlier,
Yeah.
the James Bond cars. They were very cool.
So one of the highlights of this weekend's Goodwood Revival is the fact that they're celebrating 75 years of Lotus cars. And it means that there's a fantastic collection here, just like this one. This is a 1979 Lotus 79, powered by a Cosworth DFE 3-litre engine. Of course, the engine has the most wins ever in Formula 1, and piloted by the man, the myth, the legend himself, the 1978 world champion Mario Andretti. We've got a fantastic collection here. You've got cars from Fittipaldi, another one of Andretti's Lotus from 1975, and of course this amazing looking 88B Lotus from 1981. I mean, look at the thing. It just looks quick. Here's another fantastic car. We have the Tyrrell 006 from 1973. This, of course, was the car that Francois Seaver scored his only Formula 1 victory in, as the Frenchman sadly loses his life in an accident in the season-ending United States Grand Prix at Watkins Glen. It's also the car of Jackie Stewart, famous 3-time world champion. He finished his career in this, having retired at the end of that same Grand Prix. And this car was continued to be used into the start of 1974. It was phased out for the more powerful and faster Tyrrell 007. In the back, just like the Lotus, we have a Cosworth DFV 3-litre engine, showing how much and how many teams used this engine in Formula 1. There's actually a time in Formula 1 when every team used the exact same Cosworth DFV engine. The engine is just that good. So if you ever wanted to see a car that just screams F1 history, here you go. It's the Maserati 250S. There's actually a whole line of them here at Goodwood. And this one, there was 26 examples of this car made and competed in Formula 1. And in this car, they took the first victory on their first race at the 1954 Argentine Grand Prix. Juan Manuel Fangio that took the first victory, and a fun fact about that 1954 season was the fact that Fangio won the World Championship using points combined from his 2 victories in these cars and the rest of his victories with the Mercedes-Benz team, who he moved over to shortly after he scored the 2nd victory in the Maserati 250S. Up here in the front, we've got our 6-cylinder engine, straight 6 from Maserati themselves. And the funny thing about this car that you might notice is it is indeed front engine, which didn't stay around for a long time in Formula 1, but it was where it all started for the sport itself. So there we go, that's what we got up to today, Friday at the Goodwood Revival. We hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope, and I'm begging you, no I'm not begging you, I'm only messing, but I hope you like, comment and subscribe, do all those lovely things for us down below, down there somewhere, and we'll see you again soon on Track GP. See you later guys.